Hi, Dad here. Welcome. It's Friday and I'm so excited. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hi, my name is Carl Tritt, Dad from Dad's Guide to WDW, and today we're going to talk about your Disney vacation, your memories, and your way. Hello, it's good to see you. Glad you're here. We got a lot going on today. It's a big day for us. A lot to talk about today. As Stephanie just put down in the comments, Happy Friday! It's Friday. Welcome to Lunch with Dad. First off, I want to thank our sponsors from Celebration Shirts, celebrationshirts.com. You can see that right up here. They do a great job. Love those guys. Josh, talk to him all the time. Talked to him this week, as a matter of fact. If you need shirts of any kind, whether it's for Disney World or just for home, celebrationshirts.com, they have all kinds of cool designs that you can buy. And pretty soon, there's going to be a Dad's store at Celebration Shirts. So that's coming soon. But that's part of the reason I'm so excited. Anyway, let's get on. CelebrationShirts.com. They got a Facebook page. Really cool. Lots of stuff on their Facebook page. First, I want to talk about this. Literally, this blank book. We're going to give this away today. I'm going to give this blank book away today. What would you do with a book full of blank pages? It would make a great autograph book for your Disney World trips. I don't know. You might not want it. But if you want this book right here, it's all full of blank pages. There's nothing on it. I'll sign it right here on the first page. I'll sign it. I'll send it to you. All you got to do is put a comment down that says, I want the book. And we'll pick a random winner today. And we'll send it out to you. I'll send it out to you. Sign it and send it to you. I don't know if anybody wants it, but if you want the book, just put, I want the book, and we'll get you the book. All right, here we go. So, speaking of commenting and sharing, if you would, make comments during Lunch with Dad, anything you want to tell me. Hey, Dad, I like your blue shirt today. Dad, that's so cool. Comments, shares, and questions. If you have any questions about Walt Disney World, put them down in the comments. We're going to be answering questions here. I'll be answering questions here. I've got several. We got a ways, but towards about 30 minutes from now, I'll be answering a bunch of questions. I'll answer any questions you have. So just put questions down in the comments. Any questions about Disney World? Other questions I'll try to answer, but Disney World questions, I'll get an answer for you. Anyway, so like, share, comment, questions, we're all for that. And if you want the blank book, right, I want the book. And we'll get somebody today is going to get the book. All right, let's talk about the plan. What is the plan? I keep looking at this. This is my notes. They're cool notes. Lots of notes. Always got lots of notes. I never use them, but I always have them. So the plan for today, I'm going to start out with a little rant, and then we'll do the news, tip of the week, and questions. Both. I've got about 8 questions from the Ask Dad page, and then I'll answer your questions. So if you got a question, stick it down in the comments, and then I'll have some final thoughts, and that'll be it. So let's get started. Here we go. What are we going to start with? Okay, we're going to start with the rant. Oh, I love Mannheim Steamroller. Carol of the Bells. So what does that have to do with anything Disney World? I remember kind of getting hooked on Mannheim Steamroller from the old arch at Epcot. They used to have, every Christmas, they'd have an arch at Epcot that had lights on it, and it would play music, and the lights would dance to the music. Well, there's a rumor out that the arch is coming back to Epcot for Christmas this year. This is one of those rumors. Yeah, I don't like rumors, but I like this rumor. I love that arch. I love that that music and the lights, and I could stay there for literally hours and just listen and watch. It was just so cool. I hated it I couldn't believe that 2009 was the last year for it. I couldn't believe it. I think we went in 2010. I'm looking around. Where's the arch? Where's the arch? It just floored me that they didn't put it back up. But I hear it's coming back. Rumor is it's coming back. We'll see. That would just make my day if I got to see that again this year. Hopefully that will be here. That'll be here. All right. So let's go back. I want to play this some more. If you can't tell, I'm excited. I'm excited. Why am I so excited? Well, this morning, Stephanie, my assistant, she's more than my assistant. She takes care of everything. But she sent me the first proof of the book all laid out. I mean, it's getting so close. Let me just show you what it looks like. Here, let me just show you. Here is Dad's Simple Fun Magic Guide to Walt Disney World Planning. And it is just so cool. I'm just going to scroll through a little bit of stuff. Yeah, we got a page of boring legal stuff. Hadn't been written yet. But, there's the table of contents. There's 3 main sections. Oh, this thing is just so cool. Some acknowledgments. And then it starts with the one big truth. What is the one big truth? You're going to Disney World. And then it just goes on and on. See our little Pigment guy? Pigment is so cool. He makes appearances all through the book. And it's just, I can't tell you how excited I am about having the book and getting it ready. It looks like we're probably about 3 or 4 weeks away from shipping. We've got another round of proofing to go through. We got to go through and make sure that we didn't drop things when we put it in the book, when we put it in the layout. So we've got another round of proofing that'll be done in the next week or so. And then we'll start uploading it to Amazon, and you'll be able to buy it on Amazon sometime next month. I'm hoping about the 22nd. But we will let you know. It's getting so close. I'm so excited. It's so cool. It's really, really good. You're really going to enjoy the book. Dad's Simple Fun Magic Guide to Walt Disney World Planning. Coming to Amazon soon. Very, very soon. All right. So, what's next? News. News this week. It wasn't a big news week. 2 weeks ago we had all of the announcements out at the D23 Expo that kind of took the wind out of all the announcements. But we did have a little bit going on this week. More came out about the Mission Space makeover. There's a lot going on with Mission Space. The new Green Line, and it's I'm not quite sure. There was some talk about there's going to be a name change for the Green Line, but there's going to be, I think it's going to be the Mission Space Mars experience and the Mission Space Earth experience. Now, the Earth experience is what used to be the Green Line. The Earth experience is going to be revamped and designed where it just stays in Earth orbit. And it just orbits around the room, gives you beautiful, beautiful view of the Earth as it rotates, as it goes around the Earth. The Earth experience also won't have the G-forces, and it's even going to be very, very kid-friendly. They've got booster seats. They're making it to where it's a lot easier to punch the buttons, and it's just the story is a lot more kid-friendly. So you're going to have the Earth experience, and you're going to have the Mars experience. Now, the Mars experience is going to be let me out of here, this thing is shaking me to death. It's still going to have that. So if you're into that high-speed thrill ride, it's still available. But this is going to open up on August 13th, the same day that Ellen is going to close, that the Great Movie Ride is going to close. So that day, Mission Space will be back open with the new experiences. The Mars experience, pretty much the same, maybe a couple new wrinkles, and the Earth experience. All right, so what else? Announcement this week that Yak and Yeti, the quick service, is going to start doing breakfast. Some baby tiger cubs, they're expecting, one of the tigers is expecting, and they'll have cubs in August at Animal Kingdom. The more information is coming out from the D23 Expo announcements. The Riviera Hotel that was announced at D23, I didn't know exactly where they were going to put it. They made it sound like it was going to go between Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot, because you were going to be able to see both of them from a vantage point, upstairs vantage point. Well, it turns out that it's going at the Caribbean Beach Resort. That construction they're doing at the Caribbean Beach Resort is going to be the Riviera Disney Vacation Club Resort. Just interesting. Grand Avenue, there was an announcement that this week that Hollywood Studios, Disney's Hollywood Studios, is going to get kind of a new area. It's not going to be really rides or anything, but shops and a new restaurant, a Grand Avenue. They're going to take the facades from the old back lot and turn them into a California street, a literal street from California. They're copying a literal street from California, and they're going to turn that into an area that will lead. I believe it's into Star Wars Land. I believe it's into the new Star Wars Land, but it's also going to have a new restaurant called Baseline Tap House. Not a lot of details out yet. We'll see, but that was also announced this week, and you can see already the facades that are up behind the walls, the construction walls, have already been painted, and they've started working on them already. So let's see. Did I miss anything? Oh, I'm going to go with one rumor that kind of it's not really a rumor. We know that Toy Story Land, that there are going to be two rides. And the Slinky Dog roller coaster, everybody knows about. The second ride, there hasn't been a lot of information about. Well, Stephanie, my assistant, found a picture of what the new ride is going to be. It's going to be, we knew something about the green aliens, from the claw. We knew that was kind of going to be the theme of the ride, and now it looks like, if you look at the aerial pictures, you can kind of see some round blue pads. And those are kind of the same looking pads as if you looked at the pictures from Disneyland, the Mater's Tractors ride. So it looks like the new green aliens ride is going to be kind of based on the Mater tractor, where you get in the vehicle and you kind of puddle around. But so don't have any details, but it looks like it's going to be something like that. And Stephanie did a lot of research. She got real excited about it, and she put it all together. All right, and then finally, very sad. Very sad, the news this morning that Marty Schuyler passed away. A very, very, very sad day. Just going to take just a second and have a moment of silence for Marty's family. Great, great, great Disney legend. One of the originals, Marty Schuyler. It's a sad day. All right, so next. All right, it's time for Dad's Tip of the Week, and let's just let her roll. Hi, Dad here with Dad's Tip of the Week. This week I want to start a conversation about Dad's new book, Dad's Simple, Fun, Magic Guide to Walt Disney World Planning. The book is really cool, and it starts off with a bang. Right up first, the very first thing it talks about is the one big truth. The one big truth is, you're going to Disney World. That's really, yeah, that's really true. The one thing that's overlooked in the One Big Truth usually is the word you. You are going to Walt Disney World. It's not me. It's not Aunt Janie. It's not Uncle Tom. It's not one of your friends. It's you. You're going to Disney World. It's your vacation. You're building your memories. So you should do it your way. And that's the one big truth. It's also Dad's tip of the week. It's your vacation. Do it your way. You want to ride Space Mountain? Ride Space Mountain. You don't want to ride Space Mountain? Don't ride Space Mountain. It's up to you. It's your vacation. And that's Dad's tip of the week. Bye-bye. All right. So what did you think about that? Dad, you're silly, Dad. Really, I truly believe that a lot of people will, it seems like there's a lot of, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. You got to go eat at, I don't like food they cook there. Why would I go eat there? But you gotta. It's your vacation. Do it your way. All right. We got to move on. Couple of reminders. Before we move into questions, we're getting ready to move into questions. I got a few questions from the Ask Dad page, and I will answer any questions that you send in. Just put them down in the comments. Stephanie's going to answer some of them as we go through. She's the one doing the typing right now in the comments, but she'll answer some of them if they're obvious, if there's things we've talked about a lot. But if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in, and we'll get them answered for you right away. In fact, I'll be answering some of your comments in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Also, if you want this blank book, this real nice autograph, it might be a nice autograph book. This is what I've been using as a prop. It's all blank. It's not the real book yet. But if you want this right off my desk, I'll sign it for you, and I'll send it to you. We're going to pick one lucky winner to get this here in just a few minutes. If you just put, I want the book in the comments, then at the end of the day, at the end of the call, we'll just pick a random winner. Just put in, I want the book, and we'll pick somebody. Somebody's going to win it today, and I'm going to sign it and send it to you this weekend. All right, here we go. First question. Again, any questions you have, put them down in the comments. First question. This one came from Steven. We had a lot of Stevens this week. They're not all the same. We had like 3 questions from Steven, but they're different Stevens. Their email addresses were all different. But, Steven says, where can I find a Disney Parks growth chart? Let me see. Oh, I've got one right here on my desk. We haven't updated this yet, so it doesn't have Pandora on it yet. It doesn't have the new height requirements for mission space on it yet. But this is Dad's Disney World growth chart. It's really cool. In fact, there's one of them sitting right over in my office waiting for the grandkids to be born. But it has every ride except for Pandora listed on it. The Banshee ride at Pandora. It's got every ride listed on it there with the height. So at 48 inches, you've got Primeval Whirl Rock and Roller Coaster, Crush and Gusher at Typhoon Lagoon, Downhill Double Dipper at Blizzard Beach. And this is not paper. This is not some cheap paper that you can tear up. I mean, this is something that you can keep forever. It's a polyurethane plastic-ish plastic paper that won't tear, that you can write right on it. Let me get a pen and show you. You can write right on it. You can write right there, right on it. You give it a couple of seconds, and it doesn't even smear. No smearing. It's really, really good stuff. Stephanie put a link down in the comments to where you can pick that up. I couldn't be prouder of it. I mean, I think that next year we'll probably update it. We haven't updated it yet. We're kind of waiting to see We probably will wait till Toy Story Land comes out, maybe even Star Wars Land, till the height requirements come out on those. It doesn't make a lot of sense because it's a printed thing. And if you print too many, then you've got them sitting around, you're throwing them away. So we probably won't update it right away, but it will be available. In fact, if you wait a couple of hours, I'll go in, Stephanie, remind me, I'll go in and change the price and make it cheap, like $5 plus shipping. So that's where you can get a growth chart. I haven't seen anybody else's growth chart, so it's probably the best one out there because it's probably the only one out there. But Dad's got a growth chart. There you go, Stephen. That was easy. All right, here comes the next question from Lindsay. Hi, Dad. We visited Animal Kingdom a few months ago in March. Rivers of Light was only showing on selected days, and we missed it. We plan to visit Walt Disney World again in March 2018. Is Rivers of Light expected to run nightly during early March? Lindsay, that's one of those questions that I'm going to give you my best guess because it's a Disney, and what they're doing with Rivers of Light, nobody has a clue. They've been putting out the show times for Rivers of Light in 3-month increments, 3 to 4 months before the time. We were trying to make Rivers of Light dining reservations for our trip in October, and we weren't able to make them till like 60 days after we made our other dining reservations. So it really was kind of, I don't know what they're doing with Rivers of Light. Right now, they're showing Rivers of Light on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that pattern. And they're doing that pattern up through, even through the week of Thanksgiving, up through the end of November, when that's how long the schedule is out. I'd like to see what December schedule says before I really commit to anything for March, but my best guess is March 2018, especially early March, before the real big spring break crowds start hitting. My best guess is it will be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I would probably try to plan my trip around that, to where you're going to be in Animal Kingdom on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, if you want to see Rivers of Light. Now, is it possible that they'll go to every day? You know, Hollywood Studios went through the same thing with Fantasmic. Fantasmic for years was just you had to figure out which day it was going to be on show. And then finally, a few years ago, it went to every day. Will that happen with Rivers of Light? I don't know. I suspect it might, because they're really trying to push Animal Kingdom into a full day, into the night park. Excuse me, that was rude. Breakfast. And for some reason they are, I don't know. It's just a Disney thing. We don't know. But my best guess is, and what I would suggest is, plan your trip to where you're there on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, and you'll have a good chance of seeing what Rivers Light. All right, here we go. Next question. This one is from Alex in Tennessee. I am looking at going to Disney World the week before Christmas. I wanted to go the second week of December, but I'm in college, and that's my finals week. Last year, my husband and I went to Disney the week of Memorial Day for our honeymoon. Are the crowds a lot worse the third week of December than they would be the week of Memorial Day? Alex, you're going to love being at, well, I say you're going to love, it's your vacation, but I think you'll love being at Walt Disney World at Christmas. It's just the best time of the year to go to Walt Disney World. It's beautiful. The decorations, it's just the best time to go to Walt Disney World, in my opinion, during the whole year. Now, crowds the third week in December. December crowds are kind of like they're the, I'm trying to search for my words. It's like not the calm before the storm, but what happens right before the storm? It's not, don't want to say that the first couple of weeks, the first 3 weeks, the crowds are calm. They're not September calm. But the first couple of weeks, the crowds aren't too bad. That third week, especially this year, with Christmas being on, what, I think Sunday, that week, Sunday, Monday, I'd have to look. But anyway, right after that third week, the crowds are going to go from moderate the first few days to heavy to right before Christmas to when the weekend hits, out of control. So how does that compare to Memorial Day? Memorial Day crowds are fairly moderate. The last couple of years they've been moderate to edging up towards heavy. But typically, the crowds are moderate. I mean, this year, they were a little bit out of control because of Pandora opening over the weekend, but Memorial Day weekend. But last year, if you were there last year, you've seen kind of the moderate to heavy crowds. That'll be what it's like the first few days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, you'll see it go up to heavy. Friday, you'll see it go. Friday, Saturday, it'll start getting crazy. You can look at our December Disney World's crowd calendar page. Stephanie will put the link down in the comments, and you can kind of see how that progresses. And she'll also put the May crowd calendar page, so you can kind of compare. But it's moderate to heavy for Memorial Day. It's moderate to heavy to very heavy to crazy during that week before Christmas. And that's the bottom line. For the first few days, it'll be roughly equivalent, but then as the week progresses, it'll get a little crazy. All right, so that's that question. Next question. Here we go. Ooh. Got sinus stuff. I hate sinus stuff. It just gets old. Anyway, why are you doing this stuff for? Get on with it. Here we go. Stephanie from Lockbourne, Ohio asks, my daughter has an appointment booked at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in Disney Springs for our vacation in December. She is getting the top castle package due to generous birthday gifts. Is there any way to find out what princess dresses makeovers are available before we go? Well, Stephanie, I don't know. It's been a long time since I had a little princess, and I did have a little princess. We even call her the princess. But when the princess was growing up, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique didn't exist, so I've never been to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. So I called in a favor from one of my friends at Destinations to Travel, and they sent me an answer. This one comes from Nancy Castillo, and she says, your daughter is going to love the experience. Every girl should be able to be a princess for a day. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique has a wide array of princess dresses for her to choose from. Whether she chooses Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Tiana, Snow White, or another princess, there will be plenty of hairstyles and dresses and accessories to choose from. She can choose to have her hair done in the traditional princess fashion, or she can put a little color in her hair with removable color strands. She can also choose her makeup and nail polish color. She will choose a face gem to show her personality, and after she chooses a dress, help her pick out a wand and a crown. She will also receive a princess necklace, sash, cinch to carry with her her items in. And that's all included in the castle package. So that's what she's going to get. Be sure, and Nancy says this, be sure to take lots and lots of pictures. If you have Memory Maker, if you have, there will be a PhotoPass photographer there taking pictures. Make sure to give them your Memory Maker card. But there will be plenty of to choose from. If you've got a specific princess and it's not one of the big princesses, you might not be able to choose that. But you can just look and see the princesses that are around. You'll see the little girls that come out with the princess makeovers. But the main princesses are always going to be available. I hope that helps. All right, here we go. This next one, speaking of Stevens, this next one is from Stephen. It's a different Stephen. And it's another question about Memorial Day. But here we go. Let's see what Stephen has to say. We are going to Walt Disney World Memorial Day weekend of 2018, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I notice your crowd's calendar says these days will be moderate days. I thought it would be busier. What's the deal? Stephen, yep, that's the way it is. Memorial Day is not a busy holiday for the most part. It was a little busier this year because of the opening of Pandora, but for the most part, a Memorial Day holiday is a moderate to just on the border of heavy crowds. The weekends can get heavy depending on the weather with the locals coming out. But for the most part, Memorial Day is a moderate type of crowd holiday. Now, why is that? Well, the main thing is it's prime school time. This is the time where a lot of schools are having final exams or getting ready for graduations. In Oklahoma, that's about the time we get out. But I know in a lot of states, Florida being one of them, the Florida schools get out in mid-June. So a lot of people won't take a vacation right with 2 weeks left to go in school. They want to do it. There's too much to do to get to Florida right at that time. It's not a good time to be taken off and going to Florida. So the school crowds, which is where when Disney crowds go up, it's usually, or it used to be, it's not so much anymore, but it used to be you follow the school calendars and you could see when the crowds would be. And since Memorial Day is that time where you really can't take off to go to Disney World because school's going to be out in 2 weeks, why not wait 2 weeks and go in the summer? That's always kind of been the thinking around why Memorial Day is not as busy of a crowd. You would kind of think it's a holiday, it's going to be busy. Veterans Day, Memorial Day, those two are kind of the. There are a couple more. Not Columbus Day anymore, but nobody does Valentine's Day. Those kind of are the times when crowd levels are down compared to what you would expect. So the bottom line is Memorial Day, moderate to kind of bordering on heavy crowds, but it's not crazy at all. All right, Stephen, thanks. And speaking of Stevens, here's another one. Sorry, that's the same one. That's the one I just answered. Let me put that up. I know there's another one coming. While we're taking just a minute break, if you're going to Walt Disney World, I want to highly recommend you check out our partners over at Destinations to Travel. I mentioned them just a couple minutes ago because because of Nancy's answer. Destinations to Travel, I love Destinations to Travel. I deal with them all the time. I talk to them almost every day. I believe in them. I don't just say this because they pay me to. They don't really pay me to. They do pay me. When you book a trip, I get a little bit of the commission. But I say this because I've dealt with the travel agents before. I've changed travel agents. This Destinations is the third travel agent I've recommended because of the service they provide. When I started looking for someone that could give great service to the people that follow me, that are looking for help with their vacations. And I found it in my partners from Destinations to Travel. I get feedback from people all the time about the great service that they provide, and it's free. That's the best thing about it. It doesn't cost you anything. So if you're planning a trip, if you're thinking about a trip, if you just booked a trip to Walt Disney World, give our partners at Destinations to Travel a shout. And Stephanie will put the link down to the page, and at the bottom there's a form. Just fill it out and give them a shout. They will take great care of you. Trust me, they will take great care of you. And if they don't, let me know, and I'll get it fixed. We just have that kind of relationship. So they will take great care of you. All right, back to the questions. I got like 3 more. If you've got a question you want me to answer, there's like 5 of them down there now. I'll be answering here in just a few minutes, but put them down in the comments below. And I'll get right back to them here in just a few minutes. All right, this is kind of a long question, but I'm just going to read it. This one comes from JC in Louisiana. My fiance is paying for his kids and myself for a June 2018 6-day vacation. What he doesn't know is that I am planning on treating him in February 2019 to a vacation for his 50th birthday. Will I be able to upgrade the 2 adult ticket portions of the package to an annual pass at check-in at Disney during the June 2018 stay? I thought it would save me money actually by paying only the upgraded ticket portion for a future vacation. If so, this savings could upgrade to February from a moderate to a deluxe with a minimal extra, and I'm hoping for an annual pass discount in February. And she goes on to talk about savings on food and things like that. JC, the quick answer is absolutely you can upgrade your tickets. Even though they're part of the package, you'll be able to upgrade those tickets to annual passes. You don't have to do all the tickets. You can do just the adult tickets. It's really easy. When you check in, you don't do it at the check-in desk, but you go over to the concierge desk. Every hotel has a concierge desk. You go over there and tell them you want to upgrade your tickets to annual passes. Boom, they'll take care of it right there. They'll figure out which ones, they'll update them. You'll be in good shape. And you'll be able to use all those annual pass perks, the cheaper food, the discounts on food, which right now is 30%. I think that's just for the summer, but 30% off on a ticket for food, that's a lot of money. And typically, normally it's 20%, but they upped it to 30% for the summer. So the annual pass discount is really cool. And so, yeah, just go to the concierge when you can also do it in any of the ticket booths. Any of the ticket booths can do it for you if you don't get it done at the hotel. So at the hotel, at the concierge desk, at a ticket booth, anytime you want to upgrade a ticket, if you need to add a day during your trip, you just go to a concierge desk, to a ticket booth, and you can add a day right then and there. $15 to add a day once you get past that 4th day. It's just $15 to add a day to your tickets. Somebody was surprised about that this week. I came across somebody, $15 to add, what? Just $15? What? So if you want to upgrade passes, tickets, just go to the concierge desk, just go to one of the ticket booths, just ask them. They can handle it. And that also goes with old tickets. If you got old tickets, concierge desk, ticket booth, boom, they take care of it. All right, next question. This one is from Scott in Halifax, Nova Scotia. This is a 2-part question. First, last time we went to Disney, it was in December leading up to Christmas. My wife is worried that going in January won't be as magical in terms of the thematic visual experience. Does the snow theme, etc., extend into later January? Secondly, I see that Splash Mountain is closing at the end of the summer for repairs, so does that mean it won't close again in January? Thanks in advance for any insight you can shed. Scott, it's a good question. Christmas is just a beautiful, beautiful time to be at Walt Disney World. I think I've already said it a few times today. I love Christmas at Disney World. You know, here it is July, and we're talking about Christmas at Disney World. What better time to talk about Christmas at Disney World than July? But if you're going in January, now the Christmas decorations will stay up the first 10 to 15 days of the month. It changes from year to year. Don't know exactly when they'll come down. 2 years ago when we were there in January, 13th, 14th, 15th, we were still seeing decorations, but they were starting to come down. This year it was around the 14th, 15th again. Used to be you could count on it the first Sunday in January, unless it was like the second. The first Sunday in January, the decorations would come down overnight. But Disney has kind of changed that in the past few years. So it takes them a little longer to get the decorations down. So the first couple weeks in January, you'll see the decoration. You won't see the snow on Main Street. That only happens during the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas parties. So you won't see the decorations on Main Street. The snow on Main Street. The decorations will still be up, but the snow won't be there in January. So you lose a little bit of that ambiance. Now, if you go after the 15th of the month, you're not going to see it. And yeah, it is a little bit of, I don't want to say a downer, but it's not as beautiful as it is in December. It's just that way. But you're at Disney World. It's still a great thing. There's got to, if Disney World was Christmas all year round, it might get a little old. But no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't to me. But no, so they only do it for that period from the first part of November to the first or second week of January, and then the decorations come down. Now, as to Splash Mountain, the closure in January, they've been having some problems with Splash Mountain. So will this closure they've got fix them all? I don't know. I hope so. Will they have to do a refurbishment again in December, January? Maybe. It's kind of a good time. They do like to take it down in the cooler times of the year, just to re-energize it. So will it be down again in January? It's possible, but it's not likely. Who knows with Disney refurbishment? They've done some crazy, crazy things lately. So can't give you a good answer on that other than say, I kind of doubt it, but it could happen. All right. Let's see. I've got two more questions. So if you've got a question, stick them down in the comments. I'll get to them here in about 5 minutes. Here we go. Two more questions. First one. Oh, I'm supposed to be playing some music. Let me find my music. My music is gone. Here we go. Yeah, this one's about Star Wars. Couldn't have guessed, could you? All right. This one again from Steven. Different Steven. Hi, Dad. I've been checking your videos for a while, and they are great. So thanks for all the tips. So I'm going to Disney World the second week of August and was wondering if it's worth it to book a dessert party. I'm thinking about the Happily Ever After and Star Wars parties. Will it be that crowded that it's best to have a reserved spot? How long would I have to wait to get a good viewing spot for both fireworks shows? What's your recommendation? That's a real good question, Stephen, and this goes to it's your vacation. However, not exactly, you said the second week of August, and that's kind of that week of transition between the heavy crowds and the light crowds that happen in August. If you're talking about before the 15th of August, you're talking about moderate to heavy crowds. If you're talking about after the 15th of August, it's nothing to worry about because you're talking about light crowds. But getting a good spot to watch the fireworks on Main Street, even with moderate to heavy crowds, is not terribly difficult. Main Street is a long, long street. A lot of people can pack into Main Street. You don't have to be on the front row. It's not like, actually being farther back is better. I like watching the fireworks from over at the Polynesian beach because you get the broader view and you get the fuller view. So you don't have to be right up front. So getting that, it's not like the parade where you want to be kind of jammed into the front, get as close as you can. And there are some considerations if you have kids, things like that, little kids especially, that you're going to have to hold up in the crowd. But if you're just adults, then you don't need a special seat to watch the fireworks if you're an adult. Even at Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios is a little more limited space to watch the fireworks, especially good space, good view of the fireworks, because it's just arranged differently. There's just not as many optimal viewing spots in Hollywood studios. But again, you're going to be there it depends on if you're in the heavy crowds or the moderate crowds. For the experience, though, do you want the experience of the dessert parties? The Magic Kingdom Tomorrowland Terrace dessert party. It's an experience. You're over there, you're getting desserts. I think there's even some alcohol if you're into that. And you've got a seat where there's only a few people. You're not going to be jostled. Somebody's not going to come at the last second and plant themselves right in front of you and they're 7 foot tall. You don't have to worry about that kind of thing if you're at the dessert party, because it is very limited number of people involved. So if you want that kind of experience, and I hear the one around the Star Wars show at Hollywood Studios is really, really cool. If you're looking for that kind of experience, then yes, it's worth it. Now, if you're just looking at it from the standpoint of, I want a view of the fireworks, no, it's probably not. And that's the bottom line. If you want to go for the experience, absolutely, it's worth it. If you want to go for just the seat, just the place, just to watch the fireworks, no, it's just not so much. All right. Hope that helps, Stephen. All right, last question. Another Stephen. Had a lot of Stevens today. Another Stephen. Again, if you have any questions, stick them down in the comments. We've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we'll get to them here in just a minute. All right. Can you FastPass seats for the Candlelight Processional show? I tried to get a reservation, making a dining reservation with the dining plan, and was informed it would be 2 table service credits. We did not make the reservation. All right. So, Stephen, there are no FastPasses for the Candlelight Processional. The Candlelight Processional, I love the Candlelight Processional. It is my favorite show at Walt Disney World. They tell the story of the birth of Jesus through scripture and song. It's just one of the best things Disney has done. And they've done it. It was one of Walt's favorite things. Walt started it back at Disneyland. They still do it at Disneyland. And it's just an amazing show. 500 choir members, an orchestra, the Voices of Liberty. It's just really well done. Now, the dining package, yes, it is 2 table service credits. It's not always good to be using the Disney dining plan. This is one of those, what on earth would you use the Disney dining plan for the Candlelight Processional dinner package at the beer garden? The beer garden costs, let me see, I wrote it down here. The beer garden for lunch costs $44 per adult. $44 per adult at lunch. That is not a 2 credit restaurant. Even at dinner, I think it was like $59. And that's not a 2 credit restaurant. And that's under the Candlelight Processional dining package. So it doesn't make any sense to spend 2 credits on the Candlelight Processional at most of the restaurants. Pay cash. Hey, newsflash. You don't have to use the Disney dining plan. You can pay cash for meals and use those credits somewhere else where it makes more sense. And again, this is one of those things. I know nobody agrees with me, but the Disney dining plan is not the best deal. Okay, enough of that. So you don't have to use the Disney dining plan. You can pay cash. Beer garden, $44 a person. Why would you want to do that? Now, let's talk about the seating for the Candlelight Processional. About 75 to 80% of the seating for the Candlelight Processional is reserved for people on the dining packages. So the first 3/4 of the theater is all taken up by people on the dining packages. In fact, if you want a good seat for the Candlelight Processional and you are on the dining package, you need to be in line about at least 30 minutes before the show starts just to get a decent seat. Those seats will all fill up. Those first 75, 80% of the seats will be filled by the dining packages. And that's 3 shows a night every night from November, from the day after Thanksgiving till my birthday, December 30th. All the seats will be almost full almost every night. People will actually stand in line to get some of those back seats, those non-reserved seats. I've known that of people that have stood in line for all 3 shows and not gotten in because the line is so long. There just are limited seats if you don't do the dining package. I highly recommend, if you want to see the Candlelight Processional, that you do the dining package. If you don't have to use your dining plan. Pay for it in cash if you think it's too much, or just use the 2 credits. Find another meal that doesn't cost as much and pay for that in cash. You can pay cash when you're on the Disney dining plan. There's nothing that says you can only use the Disney dining plan. But I would highly recommend that you do get a dining package for the Candlelight Processional. It's just they do have several restaurants that are on lunch where you don't have to pay as much. So it really is the bottom line. Dad's bottom line is you do, in my opinion, need a dining package, a dining plan pack, not a dining plan, but a dining package, Candlelight Processional dining package, if you want a reserved seat at the Candlelight Processional. And if you want a seat, yeah, you could stand in line, but you have to get in line really early, and you might be in line a long time. All right, so that's all the questions I have. Now let's get into your questions. Again, if you want to ask a question, put it down in the comments. Also, I'm giving away in 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to give away this. It's a blank book. It's empty. There's nothing in it. There's a front and a back cover that printed in about 150 pages of blank paper. It'd make a great autograph book. If you'd like to get this, we're gonna pick a winner here in just a few minutes. Write in the comments, I want the book, and we'll pick a winner from random. A random winner here in just a few minutes. Okay, here we go. Your questions. Robin asks, is free dining officially gone? Robin, not quite sure what you mean by that. The free dining promotion, I don't remember the day it ended, but I think it's ended by now. I think the fall free dining ended in June. I think that the booking ended in June. So my guess is, yes, you cannot book free dining this year. So you can't book it this year. Now, will it be back next year? I don't know. I've pronounced free dining dead for the past, well, on the odd years, for the past 6 years, 8 years. So what do I know about free dining? So is it officially gone? Yeah, you can't book it right now, but will it be back next year? Who knows? Heads or tails. Flip a coin. Sandy asks, Dad, is the Rivers of Light FastPass worthwhile, or are there decent views that are not in the FastPass area? Sandy, I haven't actually done it yet. We're going in October. I'll get my first view. I hear that the FastPass and dining package areas do give you an optimal view of Rivers of Light. Now, that being said, can you see it from around the lagoon? Yes, but is it optimal viewing? No. But is it okay viewing? I'm sure there are spots where it is okay viewing. But the optimal views are in the dining and the FastPass area. We've got a dining package reserved for our trip in October, and we're planning to do the dining. It's a breakfast at Tusker House, and we've got dining. We can't wait. We can't wait. Fought for that reservation, and I got it. All right, so next, Brian asks, with the way the crowd calendars have been changing, how do you answer when is the best time to go to Walt Disney World? Brian, I struggle with this every year. The crowd patterns have changed a little bit. Not drastically, because where the crowd patterns have changed, October has become a very busy month, and we didn't typically The best time, I don't remember having October listed. I've done the best time to visit Disney World since 2011, I think. The best week, the best time. So I've been doing it for 6 or 7 years. And I don't think, I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think I ever had a week in October. So that's the month that has really seen the most growth over the last few years. Now, last year, the first week in December, the week after Thanksgiving, had kind of a jump that was really unexpected. But overall, there are still some good times to go, and they haven't changed. Even with the change of the crowds being lower in the summertime, they haven't affected most of our typical best times. I know this year I didn't choose the first week, the week after Thanksgiving, which is usually my #1 week. I didn't choose that this year. Kind of forgotten which week I picked, but it just the patterns haven't altered drastically. You can pretty much go by the school calendar still. Yeah, October is kind of a little different month, but for the most part, it follows the school calendar. September, month of September, no crowds. February, between Martin Luther King and President's Day, no crowds. So there are some things that haven't changed, that are still the same, and those are the weeks we have recommended for years. I don't know of any week that we have ever recommended that turned out to be crazy. So while the patterns have changed, they haven't changed that drastically. Yeah, I gripe about it all the time, but it hasn't really made that drastic of a change. All right, next question. Panel asks, we have a room at the Pop that sleeps 4. There will only be 3 of us on a 2-week reservation. My nephew wants to come over for a day. Will they allow him to sleep in our room for one night, Pamela? Absolutely. They won't check. They won't know. They have no way of knowing. They don't do a bed check every night, so no big deal. It'll be fine. Al says, hi, Dad. Hi, Al. Headed to Coronado Springs for the first time this December. We usually stay at the Caribbean Beach. How do the two compare in size? Time to walk to the food court, bus stops, etc. Al, pretty well, actually. I've stayed in both. They're kind of the same size. They're kind of both built around a lagoon area. The walk from the Caribbean Beach Resort, it depends on where you are. I mean, from the Coronado Springs, if you are in one of the resorts that's straight across the lagoon, there's not any quick way, just like at the Caribbean Beach Resort. You got to go around. It's easier to ride the bus sometimes than to walk around the lake. But they're very comparable in size. Construction, I don't know what the construction is doing to either resort. I haven't been there yet to see exactly. I think the construction is kind of remote, so it really doesn't affect anything going to the main building. However, the Caribbean Beach, as you know, the main building is really torn up right now, but that's not true of the Coronado Springs. So you'll find the Coronado, especially if you get in some of the casitas, they're pretty accessible to everything. The bus stop at the Coronado Springs is right out in front of. There's bus stops all around, but there's one right out in front of the main building. That's when buses are going to the parks. That's the one they start. That's the last one before they leave the park, and then they come in. It's the last one as they're going around. So. It depends if you're on the west side. It's easy to walk back to the front from the first one, the one where they dump people off when they're coming from the parks to your room, and then it's easy to walk to. So you kind of like to be in those west side. I don't call them bungalows, but anyway, my mind won't come up with the word, but those buildings on the west side. All right. So here we go. Last call for questions. We got a couple more, and then we're going to cut it off. So if you got a question, put it down in the comments. But if no more come in, we'll wrap it up. 2 more questions. We are super excited. This one's from Autumn. Autumn says, we are super excited about our second trip to Disney. Oh, that's cool. We chose to go the week after Thanksgiving to avoid low clouds, but I expect our first park day, Sunday after Thanksgiving, might be crazy. Given that we have 2 kids, what park would you recommend on a crowded day? Autumn, typically what I would do is I would go to touringplans.com and look at their park projections for that day. They do a great job of predicting what's in each park on each day. They're not always right. None of us are always right. But that's when I'm looking at day-to-day projections, which I don't do on the website. When I look for day-to-day projections, I look at touring plans. So I would go there. Magic Kingdom, on busy days, it's always the busiest park, or almost always. I like being in Epcot on busy days. The walkways are wider. It kind of absorbs people a little better than the other 2 parks. Take Magic Kingdom out of the equation. Than Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. I tend to stay away from Animal Kingdom when it's busy, just because it really doesn't have much walkway room. It just seems to be, for me, it gets claustrophobic when you're in the Animal Kingdom on a busy day. So I kind of avoid Animal Kingdom on busy days. Hollywood Studios might be an option, just because with all the construction, the crowds are a little lower in Hollywood Studios. But I'd go to Touring Plans. Go to our Touring Plans page. We've got a link, and we might even have a discount code on that page. So go to Touring Plans and look at what they predict, and just pick what's best for that day. All right. One more question. Here's the last question of the day. Mary asks, we have 7-day tickets and only use 6 days due to flight time. Can we use the ticket left on a later trip? Mary, no. Disney used to have what's called never expired. In fact, up to about 10 years ago, well, it's probably longer than that, probably 15 years ago, their tickets didn't expire. Then they started this where you could buy a never expire option. And it was pretty pricey, but you could buy a never expire option. Now all tickets expire 14 days after the day they're activated. So if you've got a ticket that's 6 days, wherever you bought it, whoever you bought it from, if you bought it in a package deal, go back and say, hey, 7 days, you only need 6 days. Hey, we only need 6 days. When you get to Disney, it's too late. They're not going to refund you and change it down to a 6-day ticket, I don't think. You could ask when you got there, hey, we got the 7-day passes, we only need 6. But no, you cannot use them the next trip, unless your next trip's in 14 days. From that first day, you've got 14 days, and then the tickets expire. All right, so that's it. Thanks for being here today. Let's give away this little book. I don't know how many of you, I hope a lot of you said you want the book. But the winner is Michelle Oliver. Michelle Oliver, you won the book. Just send us a message here on the page, and I'll pack it up and send it to you. Just that easy. So Michelle Oliver, you won. Yay! All right. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. We'll be back next week. Never know. We might give something away next week, too. So we'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.